Welcome everybody back to Friar Talk. Today we're going to be talking about some positive news for the Padres. Jose Castillo is healthy and throwing bullpen sessions, and according to AJ Casvel, he has thrown 10 bullpen sessions in minor league spring training, and his arm feels quote unquote amazing. So really good news for the Padres. We've talked about the bullpen in the past, and I think we brought up Jose Castillo a little bit as a potential guy that could end up being in that closer role. The big question is he going to be healthy? And the answer is yes, he is healthy. So before getting into just kind of what role he can play, if he can be on the MLB roster, want to go back just to the last time we saw Jose Castillo was actually in 2019, but he pitched in one appearance. So the real last time we saw him was his rookie season in 2018, and he had a really, really good rookie season. He pitched 38.1 innings, struck out 52 batters, had a FIP of 2.64 and an ERA of 3.29. So, and a WHIP of 0.913. So, pretty significant amount of time. He pitched in 37 games. I mean, that's pretty solid for anyone coming out of the bullpen. So, came out, had a great season, and then he goes down, has an injury, hasn't pitched since 2019. We haven't seen him in a long time. So this is a guy that if he's healthy, he can be a very, very good pitcher for this Padres bullpen, especially with all the question marks there. I mean, there are many guys that could beat him out, but he will definitely be competing for the Padres bullpen in 2022. So Isaac, you want to lead us off and talk about kind of what you're thinking for Jose Castillo?
Yeah, just for reference, Matt brought up his year in 2018. That year, he brought up his strikeouts also, but it would have been a 34.7 strikeout percentage, which would have ranked fifth among lefty relievers in the MLB that pitched at least 30 innings. And above him was Aroldis Chapman, Josh Hader, Sean Doolittle, and Brad Hand. So four pretty notable names that have been in the MLB and have success in the MLB. Of course, I keep wanting to say Luis also. Of course, Jose Castillo, been one of the bigger Padres commodities that I can remember. That's always kind of been a what if also. Padres organization ends up having a lot of what ifs. I think that's something that needs to be addressed, but he's been one of the biggest what ifs, especially because he's he throws hard. He's this great lefty pitcher, and he always shows big flashes. He has the potential to be the star. Now, the only role I could see him playing is a bullpen. I mean, quite frankly, he could be in the bullpen, but that's only because he gets injured so often that I don't know how many innings he could actually throw. If the Padres feel like he could be a starter, then try and make him a starter. The likelihood of that happening, yeah, exactly. It's like Chase is saying, the likelihood of that happening is very low because he'll probably get injured. But if you throw him in the bullpen, you limit his innings, you're going to get a lot out of him. If he's healthy, if he's able to stay healthy, you'll get a lot out of him because, the talent is definitely there, but the health has not been there. It's for anyone who remembers, especially because I keep saying Luis Castillo, former Charger, Jason Verrett was a very good, talented player, but he always got hurt. So Chase and Matt know a little bit about him also as 49er fans. But that's what I mean. There's always guys that are what ifs. Jose Castillo, I'm pretty sure he's touching or he's above 100 miles per hour for anyone who doesn't know about him on his fastball. Very impressive stuff from him. His debut, his 2018 year was phenomenal. It was something that definitely got a lot of fans excited for very good reason, considering I think his first 14 hitters, he struck out 10 of them. That's super impressive. That's something that you want to see out of a reliever, especially someone like him who he could probably close with those kind of numbers. But for right now, I'm going to be not optimistic, but I'm also not going to be a Debbie Downer. I'm hoping for the best for him. I'm hoping I can see him at the MLB level, whether it's this year or next year, as a reliever.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't heard of Jose Castillo, like I said, pitched one inning in 2019. That's because he got injured in 2018 or at the back end of 2018, and that's why he only pitched 38 innings. And then in 2019, at the beginning of the season, his first game, he goes out there, gets, I think, one or two outs. And then at the end of it, he throws a pitch and he's just he's looking at his finger and he's going like that. And he exits the game. He ends up getting a forearm strain. And you know what? Okay, we're waiting for 2020 to come around. He's gone the whole year. 2020 comes around, and then same thing again. He never gets fully healthy. He had another forearm strain. I think he ends up getting Tommy John. If not, he gets Tommy John within the 2021 spring training, because actually he got back to full form, back to somewhat healthy by 2021 spring training. Starts to throw some games and then has another forearm strains with a slightly torn UCL. He goes under the knife. And now this is his first full season where he's back to full strength. He's slowly rehabbing. And it's one of those things where it could either be a really great rehab and we can see him for the entirety of 2022 whenever there's a season, or, he can just be the next great what if. I mean, from what we've seen from Jose Castillo, he's a lockdown reliever. He usually hits between 95 to 97. I don't think he's reached 100 yet, but he's gotten close. And maybe with a freshly new elbow, maybe he can reach that. Has a wicked slider. If you haven't seen it, I'd look it up. Absolutely wicked slider. Stands tall. I think he's 6'5", 6'6" on the mound. He's got good depth to his fastball, good angle to it, and his slider plays off incredibly to it. Gets hitters off balance a lot. And for him, I would say, you know what, you don't want to go over 40 innings this year. Limit the innings, limit the pitches that you can get, kind of like what you did with Lamet at the end of the year. But also, he could be a lethal setup man. I don't think he's ready to quit. He hasn't pitched since 2018 or hasn't pitched multiple innings since 2018. So getting him in that, 7th, maybe 8th inning role, and I would say start him off in the 6th and 7th, see how he is, get him ready to adjust to, games. And then as the season goes on, you either put him as the setup man or you set him up as the closer. There's a lot of guys in the bullpen that we've talked about as going to be a closer. But Jose Castillo has proven that he can throw in the MLB at an elite level. And you know what? We always say we need a Josh Hader. Jose Castillo can be it. He won't go as multiple innings, though, just because of the arm injuries. But until Adrian Morejon can get here, Jose Castillo could fill that role in perfectly.
I think one thing that's interesting to bring up about Jose Castillo is that he does have that fastball slider combo that we talk about Dinelson Lamet with, but the difference is he's a lefty, and the Padres don't really have a ton of guys in the back end of the pen that are lefties. The main guy that comes to mind is definitely Drew Pomeranz, but another guy that's injured. So kind of wondering what will happen with him. With Jose Castillo, so Chase, I know that he had Tommy John in March of 2021. Do you know if he had it before, or was it more that they were trying to have him work back from like 2019 through 2020?
No, he didn't have it between then. He was sort of just working back towards it. He had multiple forearm strains, and that's kind of what pushed it the upcoming time in March of 2021. I think it was like the third time he strained his forearm, and they were just like, we've been rehabbing it multiple times. You had basically the entirety of 2019 off and 2020 off. We need to get you healthy. And so then the third time it happened, they elected for surgery.
Yeah, and that was early March last year. So it's been pretty much a year since then right now. Actually, it might even be like to the date of his surgery, which is funny that we bring it up today, because I know that there's multiple articles from March 4th about him getting Tommy John surgery. But looking at Luis Castillo, like you said, his fastball 95 to 97, slider mid-80s as well. A combination that has worked really, really well for a lot of pitchers. But what do you guys like? Did I say Luis? I did, huh? Oh, yep. There we go. Yep. So yes, Jose Castillo. But yeah, this is a guy that definitely has the 2-pitch mix for relievers. And we talked about a lot. Like when you're looking at a starter, a lot of times you do want those 3 pitches. But for Jose Castillo, having 2 pitches, being a back end guy that can potentially close, potentially be a setup man. I know that for 2021, before he got Tommy John, we actually liked him as a guy that could be a setup man for the Padres with that bullpen. So this year, I would say probably maybe more depth in the bullpen, but maybe not the higher end arms coming into the year. So once again, if he's healthy, he can definitely compete for that role. But anything else you guys want to add on Jose Castillo? All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Pretty quick one today, but just wanted to get a couple things out there on Jose Castillo because it has been reported that he has now thrown 10 bullpen sessions. So wish him nothing but success, and hopefully he's able to pitch for the Padres in 2022 and stay healthy time. Hopefully Tommy John surgery ends up, working out for him. But we'll keep you guys updated. Any news on any of these guys? There's not much, but there at least is minor league spring training. So we got a couple reports coming out there. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all for listening, and we'll give you guys Padres content tomorrow.